Hey, welcome to Come On You Spurs TV. Today we are discussing and cooking from starters to mains. To discuss the mains and the starters with me, I've got Chuma on the other side. In the meantime, come on you Spurs. Welcome back. Soji here from Come On You Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Tottenham. Tottenham sits at the top of the league at the start of the international break. Probably means for 2 weeks, Spurs are top of the league. We're enjoying every moment as Spurs fans, but we know how these things can be sometimes. But hey, we're not going to jinx it. And to join me in maybe relishing the moment a little bit more is Chuma. Chuma, how are you?
I'm at the top of the league, looking down on the Arsenal, and the only explanation I can find since Ange came around, all we do is look down on the Arsenal, and that's how it goes. Yeah, no,
Absolutely
it's true. I'm
fantastic.
super good. I think some publications have gone joint top. There's no such thing as joint top. Spurs are top of the league. Arsenal are in second place, and all is well with the world. But let's move into some housekeeping. If you're new to the channel, or you're returning, and you haven't subscribed, can we please ask you to subscribe? Click on the like button to help the algorithm, and then also the notification bell that lets you know anytime we put up new content. And comment as well. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you want us to talk about. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, so we're back, top of the league. I mean, how does that even sound to you? Top of the league, Tottenham. I know it's early days
Yeah,
yet, and okay, we say we want to jinx it, but is it well deserved or is it just a flash in the pan type thing?
well, what it's quarter of a way through if you look at it. Well, if you add six more games on top, so eight games played. And like we said, with the theme of this episode is Ange. What's Ange cooking from starters to main? So if it's a starter, it's been bloody good starters, and it's giving you so much hope for what the main course will be. If your starters has already taken you up to the top of the league, based on the fact that we didn't have that much of a preseason, so our first couple of games are really adding to the preseason that we should have had, that other clubs did. You have to realize that I think virtually all of the top six or top seven clubs at the moment, they all played the Premier League Cup or whatever it was in America, North America. They played amongst themselves. They had two very intensive preseason. But Tottenham, we had a dodgy preseason, hampered by rain. We did an Asian tour. We didn't play the best sides. We lost a couple of games. Then we played Barcelona as well. And we didn't have mixed results. We played very well. We performed well. But my goodness, the stuff and his coaching staff. Yesterday, a good friend of mine texted me to ask who's Spurs' assistant manager. And I told him, yeah, it's Chris Davies. And the guy goes, that guy should get some praise as well as Ryan Mason, as well as Wells and Matthew Wells as well. I said, you know what? It's true. Ange is the main focus of the coaching thing, and it's entirely his know-how. But my goodness, everyone has come together in Spurs to take us to this point, and I think it's well deserved. Football philosophy's changed, attitude has changed. The players are bought in, the players are together, they're united, and this is the result of what happens when you have a united front playing to the same principles and philosophy and enjoying it as well.
Yeah, Ange is getting a lot of praise at the moment for different reasons. A, from the attacking play, from changing Spurs from what they call the Conte era of being maybe a little bit tentative, a little bit negative, if you like, inviting the opponents to take the initiative and try to play on a break, and Conte may have argued the fact that, okay, maybe he didn't have the tools, if you like, in quotes, to do what he planned to do or he wanted to do. But barring a few changes from what Conte had in terms of personnel, there hasn't been that much of a huge difference in terms of what you might call the way the team is set up. The only thing that's been has been only in the style of the play, and that style of play has been in quotes from the starter's perspective, right? It looks like we're really going to have a great meal, because if you think about it,
No, true.
we've had what 8 games in the season so far. So what you then have is you have Mr. Ange, who's coming. He's taking the same personnel that we've had. Okay, maybe I added Madison. Udogie was sent out on loan. I mean, if Conte fancied him, he could have asked for him back to come back from the loan spell I had. But I mean, clearly he didn't fancy him at the time. But I don't know what the deal was at the time anyway. But we didn't have Udogie. But Bissouma, who is turned out to be a bit of a revelation now, is just amazing. Now, some people will say hindsight is a wonderful thing because, okay, we can look back and say, oh, he didn't use Bissouma that great, that much at the time. Bissouma might have been injured at some point. He had long COVID at some point, and he's fully recovered now. But the whole vibe around the club has been totally transformed with Ange coming in, giving players a lot more confidence. And you hear people like what's that young man's name who used to play for Tottenham for Arsenal, Martin Keown, saying that it reminds him of Arsene Wenger. When Wenger came in, Wenger sort of gave him a lot more self-belief, and you've talked about belief as well in terms of saying that, look, just go out and play, express yourself. Just go and do it, and you can see how that is playing out in the way that the boys are performing. And what gave me that what I call good vibe, if you like, is that match we played against Arsenal at the Emirates. And the reason is this, right? We had this particular spell in the match when they were pressing us very, very high off the pitch. In the final third, we were trying to press us, and we couldn't just play out. We just couldn't play out. But did we go long? No. Did we stop passing out? Yes, we did. And did it work out in the end? Of course it did. Now, that you said, I know you mentioned this, and you said it was like that I believe moment, as in, what's that film called? Remind me of that film. Matrix, right? I think your mic is still muted, so you might need to.
The Matrix. Neo, when Neo starts to believe.
Yeah, exactly. So it tells you that we're at that point now when you can see that the players are beginning to believe. The players are beginning to sort of have a better understanding of how the system works, and you're seeing improvement by the minute. Now, if you look at the Liverpool match, that Liverpool match was wasn't a stark contrast, but it was a different test from Arsenal because Liverpool also are an attacking club, right? So they came obviously prepared to attack as well, but we still gave them a good, really, really good game. We missed several chances as well. The time when I think we scored one, and then Richarlison hit the post, hit the foot of the post from a chance created by Madison, and Madison kept creating those pockets of space, getting into positions whereby he would be able to spray passes and just generally perform magic. So Madison had the magical this season. So he's been a huge source of what you might call inspiration for the rest of the team, alongside Bissouma. So so there's a lot to be happy about. What do you think, Chuma? I know I'm going on.
No, everything you said is very valid. I think if we're going by the cooking analogy, the first thing you have to do when you cook, as always, is lay out your ingredients and all the things you're going to use to cook. That was what Ange did as soon as he arrived. I think getting the right coaching staff in place was pivotal for him as well. He got people that Matthew Wells and Ryan Mason already have an identity in the club. They were also the ones who tried to change the style at the tail end of last season as well to what it is. They try to do what Ange is doing, but they don't have the experience in doing that. If you watch, Ryan Mason had some wonderful tactical ideas last season, the end of last season, but he couldn't implement them because, as we say in Nigeria, level past level. He's not on that level yet. And so it was difficult for them to make that sea change. But Ange came in and almost immediately instituted what he wanted and had the right ingredients in place. And he's looking for more things. Like when you're cooking, you're looking for more things to add sometimes that can make the flavor of the dish come out better, you know? And that's what he was doing. And it involved getting a few players here and there. Mickey van der Ven, what what an awesome buy for Spurs. There are certain players, him, Madison. When you watch them play for Spurs, it's like they've been playing for Spurs for almost 3, 4 years. The understanding Van der Ven has with Romero is just telepathic. One person goes, the other person stays. One person protects while the other guy dovetails in. Brilliant. And watching Van der Ven score his first goal for Spurs was like, that was just beautiful. He took it well. As he said, Son prophesied to him in the coach that, yeah, you're going to
I
score
love
today,
that.
and he
Someone
did.
prophesied to
You
him.
know, he prophesied. It's like. But when you look at Ange throughout this entire thing, Spurs fans, majority of us, virtually all of us, are losing our minds. But the coolest man in the building is the chef. While everyone else is what, and like I said, keeping with the cooking and restaurant team, while everyone else is losing their minds, a 5-star chef keeps
The
his.
Michelin chef, right?
5-star Michelin chef keeps his mind because at any given point he can change the menu based on what he has available. The best chefs are the ones who say, "Okay, I have this. I'll turn." I remember watching. I watch a lot of movies. So there's a film called The Big Short, which was a film based on the 2009 mortgage crisis.
I remember
And
the
there's a
picture.
scene,
It was such
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
The
that
Big Short,
film.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are little bits interjected in the film where you see other people where they're trying to explain financial terms and stock things using regular people. So in one of the clips, they had the late Anthony Bourdain, the chef, and Anthony Bourdain had these fish that he goes, "What happens when you have fish that you don't necessarily want to lose, but it's not good enough quality? You turn it into something else." And you serve it up and you sell it for the same, like fish that is going off. We don't throw it away. Rather, what we do is we do this. And if I use that analogy with Spurs, everyone kept on saying, Spurs have, which is the same thing Antonio Conte more or less alluded to, same thing Mourinho alluded to as well, was you have square holes and you have round pegs, or you have round holes, square pegs. And, I'm doing my best, but I need 3 windows. I need 4 windows. Pedro Porro cannot play right back. Udogi is a wing back. This guy can't play 8. This guy can't play 6. Bisuma couldn't adapt it. He took the ingredients and the products and the vegetables, everything you gave him, and he said, "Okay, I'll make something out of this. I'll make something that is instantly palatable. You guys will love it. And then, but I can do more. But let's start with this." And for me, that has been, I think it's been a story of the season. Is Spurs have taken what they have, and bear in mind, a lot of us have been saying this for a long time, that Spurs don't have poor players. We actually have very decent players. They're not the
Yep.
greatest, they're not world beaters, but they're decent, hardworking professionals that can learn anything. You know, to think about the fact these guys, since the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, they've been in academies learning different tactics, different formations, technical stuff. They can adapt to anything, but it's what you give them that they will do. And obviously, whatever Ange is doing with them in terms of attacking, in terms of the mindset, oh, it's clicking heavily with them. I think footballers deep down inside, they all want to attack. They all want to score 20 million goals. Some of them know it's not possible, but they all want to do it. So it's like it's it's like I said, I'm looking forward to, if we divide this into the courses, starters the first couple of months, 3 months. So we've had August, September, we're in October now.
Yeah.
November, December, January is that next thing, the Christmas run, and that's heading towards the main course.
That's where the
So that's
main
the
course
main
is
course.
served, right?
That's the main cause. That's the make or break. Who's going to be top? All we talk about now is who's going to be top by Christmas, who's going to be top by New Year's, and then that determines a lot of things. And yeah, interesting stats being put out there because after the first 8 games, I think the teams that are in the top three, I think over 50% of the time they still end up being in the top three after the first 8 games, 8 to 10 games. If they are top three, they stay top three. So you've got Tottenham, Arsenal, Man City. I'm not saying that that's going to be the run, but
The order, yeah.
let's see what happens next.
Yeah, but so I love your analogy about making do with what you have in terms of your tools. I mean, and your ingredients using the chef, the Michelin chef analogy, right? If I love, I don't know if you watched the Luton match, but for me that was another interesting match from a number of perspectives. Right? So everyone knows how Ange has this front foot attitude football and all that sort of thing. But we lost a man, right? And we were in the we got the lead, but Luton changed it up. They brought on more attackers, and the response could have been one of three ways. You could either keep it the same, become more offensive yourself, or do a big mix of both in terms of maybe, or even for 4 ways actually, do a mix of both. I mean, attack intermittently and defend intermittently, or bring on a defensive mode. But what Ant did was interesting for me because he took off some of our what you might call our key players, if you like, in Madison, Son, from the perspective of saying, not necessarily from saving the game, but also saying that, look, okay, fine, or sort of trying to sort of go defensive, but he was trying to manage those two players because they've been injured, right? And he didn't want to keep them on for 90 minutes for the sake of 90 minutes, and that is something I found really, really grating when it came to Conte back when we had Conte. He never made those sort of substitutions like take off Son or take off Kane. Kane never came off. I've never seen Kane come off. I mean, in matches like, but I'm pretty sure that if Kane was here, he would have taken Kane off. I mean, that's sort of person that he is. However, but the point I was trying to make is this, right? He brought on defensive players. He brought on a bit more solidity to the team, and it actually also made those for me. It makes those other people who maybe perhaps haven't played a big part in matches, right, feel valued in the key moments of matches of this nature. Brought on Davis. He brought on Davis for Udogie. Brought on Veliz, the young man. Took off Richarlison. He brought on what's that other young man's name?
Bro, Skip.
Yeah, it was on Oliver Skip, right? And Højbjerg came in for Bissouma because, of course, Bissouma, I mean, got had to come off. I mean, for the red card. I mean, we'll talk about the red card another time. But hey, not a great showing from a Spurs perspective. But what I'm saying is that he changed the match. He sort of adapted our play to not only survive but also enable us to end that match in a way that, I mean, to achieve the result that we're looking for, without necessarily, I mean, compromising on his philosophy, which I thought was another side to Ange, which a lot of people may not have paid too much attention to. His ability to read the game, read the room, and make the right changes. And so far, all of his substitutions have been spot on. Now, I'm not saying that he's a genius or he's this amazing magician, but for me, those things don't come. They don't come from what am I call some sort of coincidentally. They're not coincidence, right? If you get them right consistently so far, and it's not an accident, I think for me that is a mark of an amazing coach. It's only early days though, but hey, and we've also had a new appointment. Do you want to tell us about the new appointment, Chuma?
Yeah, but before we go into that, everything you said, I completely agree with. And also for those guys who, for those fans who don't really give him as much praise because of how amazing his first half season was, you really need to take a close look at what Kulusevski did in that game, because Kulusevski now became part of the front two with Son for a period, and he was also going into the channels to hold the ball and advance the ball. And there are a couple of passes that, if they had gone through, would have probably been in on goal and scored. He was very good at advancing the ball, very good at shielding the ball from them, killing down any kind of momentum they had. Kulusevski to me it was a huge performance, but I think it goes unnoticed because you want flair or you want him to beat three or four players. But it was the tactical discipline. Every time that ball came out to Kulusevski, he drew two men to him and he went past those two guys by shielding the ball and just his drop of the shoulder and very quick touches out as well. And it's and then also people don't realize that everyone goes about Ange Postecoglou copying Pep Guardiola, but his two fullbacks inverting inside is not Pep. Pep is one, not two, not the two, even though Pep has done two before. But it's the fact that everyone thinks they invert him to become part of the three with Bissouma. Watch the game, you see that Bissouma is behind them with Sarr. And those two guys are operating as midfielders in a whole different way with Madison. And
Yeah.
that's why you can always see Porro get close to the box. If you watch the game, Porro had this wonderful chance where he was one of the ones in the first 10 minutes. Porro could have scored,
Yeah.
and he missed the chance, which should have been a goal. Udogi gets into those positions as well inside the left side.
Yeah.
So it's very very
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah, but we got like you were saying, we got Johan Lange, he was assistant to the Swedish national manager for a period of time. He's coached as well. I think he's become a manager before as well, but his last role was literally being more or less the sporting director at Aston Villa. He's a very he's a well-traveled guy. He's found good players. I think he's one of the reasons they got Ollie Watkins and a few other players. I think Douglas Luiz as well at Aston Villa. So he has a good eye for players. And the thing about it is, like I said before, I said on a previous pod, um, I don't think Spurs will hire a sporting director. I think they will hire a technical director. And the difference is the technical director is more in charge of or coordinating their scouting and their data analysis of players. And then with the chief football officer, Scott Munn, and the manager, Ange Postecoglou, you have this triumvirate of who Spurs are going to go for and what direction Spurs are going to go forward as a football club. And Johan Lange, from all things, is like he's a very stable guy. He doesn't kick up a fuss. He doesn't cause problems. And Aston Villa, they've lost someone very good as well. I think they've got a new sporting director at Aston Villa as well. So it's probable that his position would have changed. But it's a brilliant move. It was signed off by the chief football officer. So all these things take away a lot of decisions from Daniel Levy. So, everyone goes, Daniel Levy is always going to get involved. He will at some point when it gets to a particular stage in the transfer dealings. But this just adds to the point that Spurs have modernized their club, and we'll see the effects of this. We're top of the league, by the way, under 18s, under 21s, and Premier League, which is the first time we've ever had all three at the same time.
Come on, you
And
Spurs.
give it some time. I watched the women's game. I think we lost. I watched the one where we lost to Chelsea, but you
Yeah.
could see changes. You can see that the manager there is also having an effect on the women's team as well. So Spurs are moving in the right direction in all fronts. In all
Well,
the
they won the
different things
subsequent
they're
two games,
doing.
haven't they? One against
Yeah,
was it Reading? Yeah, the last match.
yeah,
I think it was 6-1, I think, or something ridiculous like that.
So their
And
coaches,
then
their coach is doing work, but the under 21s and the under 18s have been very impressive. There are some very impressive young players as well. Yago Santiago, Jamie Donnelly, who has already vaulted into the subs bench. Jude Sunsop Bell, the striker we got, who was forming in Chelsea's books. The boy, everyone knew he was a talent, but he couldn't break into Chelsea because Chelsea, of course, had too many players. But Jude Sunsop Bell has been scoring goals. And it's looking really, 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 really good. You still got Alfie Dorrington in defense. He's such a stalwart now that no one really notices how good he is. But he's so good, and it's the direction. And you watch them. It's much credit to their coaches because everyone else going Ange ball is an effect happening everywhere in the club. But it is. They are so positive. They're moving forward. We never concentrated on all the age groups last season or the seasons before the way we are now. But now we're seeing this, and it's such a good look for Tottenham at the moment.
absolutely fantastic. Now, so we have a situation whereby we're top of the league. Everyone's saying all sorts of lovely stuff, if you like, in terms of our chances for, going forward. Is it going to happen? Or, how do you put it now? Yeah, it's only they're doing well so far, but they don't think we've got the personnel to actually do it at the end of the season, because I mean, no one wins the league in October or November. They will stories at the end of the year, at the end of the season in May, when we'll see who gets there. Now, do you think that Tottenham can do it?
Well, I'll quote my manager, and I'll say the same thing. He says there is no ceiling for what Spurs can achieve this season. We'll take it game by game, but we step into every game hoping, or not even hoping, we prepare to win
To win, exactly.
every single game. And if you prepare to win every single game you play in, or outscore the opposition, which still leads to a win, you can only aim for the best. I think the prediction, the thing about it is, like, people are shifting goalposts now, and some people are revising information. I wrote on a particular group I'm on as well, and someone said some things to me about I'm a revisionist historian, and he knows who he is, because he says, "Oh, I'm making things up." I said, "No." At the start of the season, remember, people said, and this is online, this is documented. Once they lose Kane, they are lower league. I mean, they are going to be mid to low table, even relegation zone. Remember last season, they said if you took away Kane's goals, his 31 goals and all that,
Yeah.
Spurs would have been 17th or 18th. So that was the mindset. People like even Jamie O'Hara, who's a Spurs fan, he said the same thing. We lose Kane, but we're not going to do well. When Ange Postecoglou was hired, it was Ange who, well, this isn't the Scottish League. He has no experience here. He can't do anything. And people like Chris Sutton were trying to tell people, look, this guy's philosophy is sound.
Talking of
And
Chris
if you,
Sutton, Chris Sutton has changed his
yeah,
tune. Actually, he's now a big Ange fan.
no. Chris Sutton has always been an Ange fan. Actually, I
Right.
don't. You got it the other way around. He's been boosting, and he's felt
Oh, right.
insulted
Okay, I see.
that people. Yeah, he felt insulted that people disrespect Ange because of the Scottish link, saying it's a philosophy of football. It's just the kind of players you have. He's in Scotland, so it looks so easy. But if he comes here, it will translate. Sutton's surprise is it's clicked so quickly.
Quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He still sees us dropping form at some point, and injuries, and lack of form. You look at Man City's journey. Man City lost this game to Arsenal previous weekend, but this happens all the time. You can't be as high performing as always. But with Spurs at the moment, it's going well. A lot of factors people throw in. Well, Spurs aren't playing in Europe. Um, Spurs aren't playing midweek matches. Nobody said all of this when Leicester did the same. Nobody was accusing them of that. But once it comes to Tottenham, all of a sudden it's a thing. Oh, Tottenham are also, they've been blessed with very good. Um, they've been lucky. That's what I keep hearing. Lucky because Liverpool could have no, Liverpool could have scored a goal. Yes. Would they have won the match? We don't know if they would have won the match because of that goal. One thing we do know is Spurs always score if you score, as we saw with the Arsenal match. So there's no way of us knowing if Liverpool could have beaten Spurs. They keep going, well, with 10 men and 9 men, they were better than you. Debatable. End of the day, we did score the final goal and won the match, but they said we're lucky. Luck favors the brave. Luck favors the prepared. Luck is literally preparation meeting opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I'm lucky. I'm lucky in Ange. That's all I'll say.
So we're going from starters to mains. Coming up back into the after the international break, top of the league, we go home to Fulham, and then the next match is Chelsea. Oh, sorry, next match is Crystal Palace away, and then after that Chelsea. So the next four matches, well, I think after Chelsea, I'm not sure who we have after that. I think it's Wolves. Yeah, I think we have Wolves after that. So it's on paper the I mean, challenging games. I mean, there's no easy games in the Premier League, as you know. I mean, you don't take anything for granted. So, but there will be good tests for the team to face. Fulham are no slouches, and neither are Chelsea or Crystal Palace. But you keep hearing this old narrative of saying, yes, the next big test is Liverpool. They come away pass the test. You know, the next big test is Arsenal. They go there, pass the test. The next big match is Man United. Go there, pass the test. So I mean, and Ange has broken all these curses, if you like, you know, of 12:30 kickoff. You know, history. You know, history. 2 matches on the trot now with 12:30 kickoffs. He's blissed them. You know, so I mean, I haven't got any problem from that perspective anymore. So what am I saying? Where do you see us at the end of the season? Final word.
Well, last season Tottenham finished eighth.
Yes.
We're finishing above eighth. That's all I can say. I'm not going to. I'm not. I can't commit to it. I can't commit to anything. But to be honest with you, if I were to say where I anticipate Spurs based on the trajectory right now, and you have to put in, you have to put into things. The fact that we're going to lose Bissouma and we're going to lose Pape Matissa to the African Cup of Nations in January, February as well. Depending on who we get or who we don't get or who's coming back, but we're getting Bentancur back as well. How quickly he can get into full match fitness will be something. But I personally, I said it when we got Ange that I saw us top four. We're back in the top four anyway. So I still say that now, that top four, but I don't know between 1 and 4 what we will be. But top four, I think, is a reality for me based on how we play, based on the manager and how focused, organized, and purpose he is to doing very, very well, and how he's kept everybody challenged. You know, it's not enough that we win. It's that we win playing a particular style of football, scoring as many goals as we can when we can. And then even now, that was the case until Luton. And then we had to show grit and determination in against Luton. And we did that. So you can imagine what that's done to us. That wasn't a free flowing scoring game, which it could have been at the start of the game, but we dug our heels in, and everyone said it would be Spursy for us to lose against Luton after beating everyone and drawing with Arsenal and everything else. And I think a lot of people are waiting for Spurs to lose their first match. And should that happen, I don't think it will be a drawback. I wouldn't cry or a moment for the moment. I would say, yeah, sad we lost the point if and when we do, if we do at all. But if we do, we bounce back straight up as well. I think Fulham will be a game where I think Ange Postecoglou put a lot into that game because of the League Cup. I think Fulham have they've poked the Ange bear with that League Cup victory, how it was looked upon, and how the perception afterwards of him that Fulham beat you, blah blah blah. I think that may play a huge part, and the players as well might have been stung by that, and I think Fulham are going to get the business.
So just having a quick look at the potential matches that we might lose these players for. I mean, we're talking on the 13th of January. That's when the
AFCON starts.
AFCON starts. So in January, only on the league games, probably only lose one, have them away for 2 games against Brentford and Man United in January. This is assuming that, I mean, both players get to the final, right? And then in February, we have matches against Everton away and potentially Brighton and Hove Albion at home. So those are the only matches that we'll lose those players for. Now, are those matches going to be critical for us at the end of the league? Who knows? Are they going to have an impact? I mean, they may be back way before that, depending on how the teams do in the tournament. So, I mean, it's probably people are playing it a bit too big, if you like. It may not be that huge in terms of, because I mean, people could get injured, people could have sort of suspensions and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, it's all part of the mix, if you like. So I mean, I haven't got any problem from that perspective in terms of saying, look, I mean, okay, fine, we'll probably end up not playing three matches at the most 4 matches, And even then, I mean, yeah, they're not like we're facing, well, on paper, maybe the toughest matches may be the matches against Man United and Brighton.
Yeah, you probably get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm optimistic. That's the word. That's what I'm
saying. Surprise!
Surprise! Optimus Prime was like. Anyway, it's been good having you. I mean,
thank you.
And from starters to mains, that's it from us. Chuma, it's been absolutely fantastic having you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Awesome.